Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Stratomatics Baseball Night in America. It is a Stratomatics Super Teams League on a Friday night. As tonight, from Tiger Stadium on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull, 1968 Tigers coming with a record of 2 wins and 2 losses, taking on the 1975 Cincinnati Reds coming with a record of 2 wins and 2 losses. Hello, everybody. Sports Time Machine brings you another night of Stratomatic Baseball, the Stratomatic Super Teams League. As tonight, we'll take a look at the number 1 starters on each team. Here are your starting lineups for tonight's game. Pete Rose will lead off at third. Ken Griffey will bat second. He's in right. Joe Morgan will bat third. He is at second base. Batting fourth, the catcher Johnny Bench. Batting fifth is the first baseman Tony Perez. Batting sixth is the left fielder George Foster. Batting seventh is the center fielder Cesar Geronimo. Batting eighth is the shortstop David Concepcion. And batting ninth. Okay. There are DH in these games. We're in the American League ballpark. Batting ninth, the designated hitter for the Cincinnati Reds will be Dan Dreesen. Forgot to switch the lineups around, but we'll keep Dreesen there in the 9 spot. So for your home Detroit Tigers, both teams coming at 2-2. Reds won the first game of the series, putting both teams at 2 wins and 2 losses. Dick McAuliffe will lead off. He's at third. He'll play second. He'll bat first and play second. Then Mickey Stanley is your center fielder. He'll bat second in center. Jim Northrup he's a little it's a right-handed pitcher. He's batting third and left. Bill Freehand will be the catcher batting fourth. Norm Cash batting fifth at first. Al Kaline is your right fielder batting sixth. Willie Horton down in the lineup against righties bats seventh. He's your designated hitter. Ray Euler bats eighth, your shortstop. And Don Wirt is your third baseman. On the mound is Denny Mclain. Denny Mclain had one of the best starts of the first round when he 2-hit the New York Yankees in the very first series. So Denny Mclain comes out with Bill Freehand. The Tigers take the field, and we're ready for baseball here on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. So here is Pete Rose leading off. He's hitting .333 and 15 at-bats. Both teams will be controlled by myself here playing this, so in case we have any switches that we need to make. So here we go. So Freehand puts down the sign. McLean, here's the windup to Pete Rose. We're underway. At the fly ball left field, Northrup is there, makes the catch, and there's one away. Here's right fielder Ken Griffey hitting .154, no home runs, 1 RBI. Left-handed hitter. Freehand puts down the sign. McLean with the windup. Here's the pitch. And that's base it up the middle for Ken Griffey. So Griffey at the first base of the ball game for the Reds. He's got some speed. Let's see if Griffey can maybe steal second base. 28% says he can. He cannot get it there. Here's the second baseman, Joe Morgan, struggling. 12 at-bats, a double ribby, hitting .167. Left-handed hitter. Again, Joe in that crouch with the elbows flailing. Freehand puts down the sign. McLean from the stretch. Runner on first and 1 out. Here's the pitch to Morgan. And that's a fly ball center field. Mickey Stanley's there, comes in, makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. Here's the catcher, Jonathan Bench, hitting .200, 15 at-bats, 2 RBIs, the Bingen Bomber. So Bench comes in, the right-handed stick. Freehand puts down the sign. McLean looks in, and here's the pitch to Bench. And Bench walks him, and the Reds got 2 on and 2 outs. Can't do this with this Cincinnati team. They are loaded with offense. They hit really well. Here is Perez. He's hitting .286 with one run batted in. Freehand puts down the sign. McLean looking to get out of his own trouble here. First and second, 2 outs. Pitch to Perez, and that's a strikeout for McLean. And the Reds are down in the first. We go to the bottom of the first inning here in Detroit. Reds nothing, and the Tigers nothing. Bottom of the first here at the ballpark. V-Dub Productions. How you doing, man? Welcome in. We're now here at the bottom of the first, playing this one. And now let's go to the bottom of the first inning, back to the game. And here's Dick McAuliffe. He's hitting .353. Solid year. 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. Bench puts down the sign. Gary Nolan looks in. Here's the pitch to McAuliffe. And that's a fly ball on the center field. Geronimo is there. He's a quality fielder. Should make this catch. Puts the glove up and makes the catch for the first out. Here's the center fielder, Mickey Stanley, hitting 286 through 14 at-bats, has a double. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan looks in, and here's the windup to Stanley. And that's a pop up the short. It's up the elevator chute. Concepcion waits, makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. Here is Jim Northrup. Through 15 at-bats, he has struggled mightily, has a double, hitting .67. Bench puts down the sign. No one looks in. 2 outs, nobody on. Pitch to Northrup. And Northrup, you knew he was going to get hot against that righty. He's in there. And now here's the catcher, Mr. Bill Freehan. 8 for 16, 4 doubles, 2 RBIs. Freehan having a hot start so far. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Freehan. And that is a fly ball center field. Geronimo there makes the catch. And the first inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left. We played 1 here in Detroit. Motown it is. 1 inning of play, no score between the Reds and the Tigers. Ben Witz, here you are, Ben. I haven't seen you in quite a long time. Thank you for coming in. I decided to really go more on the computerized version for now. Just a lot easier setting up and playing games. Hopefully you don't mind. I know you're just getting involved with the Stratomatic card and dice game, but this has basically the same aspects with the dice roller. Top of the second, Reds will bat. Foster, Geronimo, Concepcion, the bat against Freehan puts down the sign. McLain for the windup. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be a strikeout on Foster. So McLain gets strikeout number 2. Here's the center fielder, Cesar Geronimo. He's hitting 200 on the year. 15 at-bats, 3 runs batted in. Freehan puts down the sign. McLain looks in, and the windup to Geronimo. 6-3, fly ball left field. That's Northrup. He's coming back in on it. He's trying to put the glove up on it. Does he make the catch? Yes, he does. Good catch made. 2 outs. And here's the shortstop, the Venezuela shortstop, Dave Concepcion. Hitting 267, 15 at-bats, a double and an RBI. 2 outs, top of the second, no score from Detroit. Freehan puts down the sign. McLain looks in. He gets it. Here's the windup from Denny Mclain. And that's a ground ball to short. Euler picks up, throws across the diamond, and the Reds are done in the second. Let's go to the bottom of the second. Reds nothing, Tigers nothing. Bottom of the second here at the Stratomatic Super League. Yeah, I played Action PC Baseball. It's an excellent game. Just because I'm a big Strat player, that's this game I kind of prefer playing. Here is the first baseman, Mr. Norm Cash, hitting 235, 2 doubles through 17 at-bats. Big left-handed hitter. Bench puts down the sign. No one looks in, and here's the windup and pitch to Norm Cash. Fly ball center field. Geronimo comes in and makes the catch, I believe. He's a 1E3. That should be a catch, and it is. 1 out here. Here's the first. Here is the right fielder, Al Kaline. Boys, he's been in the lineup and been a success story. 15 at-bats, 3 doubles, 2 RBIs, hitting .533. This is one of Al's. He's become a big veteran on this team. Bench puts down the sign. No one looks in, and here's the windup, the K-line. And that's a ground ball to second. Morgan gobbles it up. He sets, throws him out, and there's 2 outs here in the second. So now here is Willie Horton. Let's see if he hears a who here. Through 14 at-bats, he's only hitting .143, and he struck out 7 times. Gary Nolan on the year is 0-1. He's now at 6.23 ERA. Let's look at Gary Nolan's first start a little individually and see how he did in his first start of the year. His first start, he went 7 innings, gave up 9 hits, 6 runs all earned. He gave up 9 hits, 6 runs all earned, and then he walked 2, struck out 2, and gave up a home run in the loss. So now here is Willie Horton. Down the sign, Nolan with the big windup, and here's the pitch. And that is going to be a pop up to second. Morgan's going to wait for it to come down, makes the catch, and the Tigers are done in the second. We played 2 Stratomatic Super League. This is game 2 of a 3-game series. Reds nothing, Tigers nothing. Top of the third, here we come on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. Here we go. Top of the third inning, Tigers Stadium on a beautiful night here in computerized Detroit. Otherwise, I don't think Detroit this time of year probably wouldn't be so wonderful. Probably still pretty bit chilly. All I know tomorrow, WrestleMania weekend. That's where it's at, folks. It's always been something I watch and always will. It's always been a popular big thing. It's a Philadelphia. It's going to be a Philadelphia WrestleMania weekend. Weather in the 40s, and also having a East Coast earthquake and everything else probably going on. And it always makes things for an interesting stuff for the weekend. So here is Dan Dreesen. He's a designated hitter. Good man to have. He's 1 for 4, 2 RBIs, gets the start. You're in American League ballpark, so use the DH. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain looks in, gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Dreesen, and that's a strike him out. Dreesen down on strikes. McLain gets his third strikeout. Here's the third baseman, the always imposing Mr. Pete Rose. Rose 0 for 1, flied out his first time up. Switch hitter, batting from the left-hand side. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Pete Rose. And that's a ground ball to second. McAuliffe will eat it up. He straightens and it's off his hand. And then he overcompensates and throws one over Norm Cash's head. Holy cow. Rose will hustle a second and get there. And Dick McAuliffe just made a 2-base error. Holy cow. So Rose will go in the second. And that's a big one there. So Rose, the second one out. Now here's Ken Griffey. He has the lone hit for the Reds today. Runner on second and 1 out. Rose, good running speed at second. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain working from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Griffey. And ground ball to short. Euler looks back. Rose throws a strike to Cash. And there's 2 outs. And here's little Joe Morgan. So Morgan's up, flied out his first time up through 13 at-bats. Morgan yet to find the power, but don't give him opportunities. He can definitely hurt you. So Morgan steps up. Again, the elbows are corking away. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain from the stretch. Runner on second. 2 out. Pitch to little Joe. And that's a ground ball to third. Wirt picks it up. Throws him out to Cash. And that is it for the Reds in the third. No runs, no hits, an error. Does not hurt them. We go to the bottom of the third. Reds nothing. Tigers nothing. Bottom of the third. Yeah, got Morgan card. It's 1975, was an MVP in 75 and 76. He was only a 2R, which balance-wise is not bad. So he has a strong card, lefties or righties. It's 76 where he's a 6R, and that left-hand side is not as good. So the 75 team has always been a more popular team for me because I think Morgan's a much better player. Bottom of the third, Reds nothing, Tigers nothing. And now here's the light hitting. I can say that. Ray Euler, he's 1 for 10 with 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. Gary Nolan on the mound. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan with the windup. Here's the pitch to Euler, and that is a strikeout for Ray Euler. So Gary Nolan strikes out his first, and here is Don Wirt.
Now he's playing out.
Wirt has 1 RBI, right-handed stick. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan looks in. Here's the pitch to Wirt. And that is going to be a fly ball center field. Geronimo comes in, makes the catch, and there's 2 away. Here's the second baseman, Dick McAuliffe. He flew out his first time up. McAuliffe, left-handed hitter. 2 outs, bottom of third, each team with 1 hit. Tigers have the lone error. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan looks in, nods. Here's the pitch to Dick McAuliffe. And McAuliffe, ground ball to first. Perez gets it, waves off. Nolan gets to the bag himself. And we're through 3 here in Detroit. Reds nothing, Tigers nothing. We head to the 4th. Reds, no runs on 1 hit. The Tigers, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 error. Top of the 4th in Detroit. So good ball game. Both teams 2-2 on the year. Again, there's still 1 game to follow after this one. Still left on the docket are the Phillies and Astros. That should be good. The A's will also play the White Sox. Only a couple games left in day 2 of block 2. So here's Bench. He'll lead off, followed by Perez and Foster. Right against Denny Mclain. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain from the windup. Here's the pitch to Bench. And that is a single to right field. Base hit number 2. They've matched the hit. They've matched the same number of hits the Yankees got in the opener. So McLain's now given up 4 hits in the last 12 plus innings. And now here's the first baseman, Tony Perez. Perez comes in, batting from the right-hand side. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain working from the stretch. Bench has a little bit of speed. Let's see if he can get it. 8% says he can get. Oh, he's going. Bench makes it. How about that? John Bench with a stolen base. So Bench is on second with nobody out. He steals it. So Bench got the lead on that. Let's see what he got it on. Was Bench starred? He must have been starred that season. And he was. He rolled the 4. How about that for John Bench? So now here's Tony Perez, first baseman, batting for the right-hand side. Bench now in scoring position. The Reds just stole a base on the Tigers here. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain looks in from the... Now here's the pitch to Perez. And that just cost him a run. Base hit Perez. Bench had to wait for it. He'll go to third and stay right there. Reds have first and third and nobody out. The computer says to put the infield in. I'm going to disagree. We'll go ahead and bring it back. We will not allow a big inning. First and third, nobody out. No score here in Detroit. Here is left fielder George Foster. Through 16 at-bats, has a double and a ribby. He steps in. Big right-handed hitter. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain working from the stretch. First and third, nobody out. Pitch to Foster. And that is a deep drive. Left field. Back goes Northrup. He's just going to look at it. Goodbye, baseball. Going, gone. Goodbye. George Foster. His first home run of the year, and the Reds lead it 3-0. George Foster hits the third base coach with a high five. He gives low high five to his opponent. Cesar Geronimo says thank you. And the Reds lead 3-0. Holy cow, Foster mashed one in the left field. So here's Geronimo. He's 0-1 with a flyout. Boy, did that did not age well for these Tigers. Freehand puts down the sign. Denny Mclain with the windup. Here's a pitch to Geronimo. Fly ball right field. K-line. Tiger waits, puts the glove up, and makes the catch for out number 2. Here's the shortstop, Dave Concepcion. Reds lead 3-0. 1 out here in the 4th inning. 3-run homer by the man who carries a big boomstick, George Foster. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain looks in, gets it. Here's a pitch to Concepcion. And that's a fly ball left field. Northrup there puts the glove up, and there's 2 outs. So here's the first base. Here's the designated hitter, Mr. Dan Dreesen. Dreesen in this lineup, again, as the designated hitter, has struck out his first time up. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain looks in. Here's the pitch to Dreesen. And that's a ground ball to second. McAuliffe to his right. He'll get it. Throw the first play. So the Reds get 3 runs. No one left. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's George Foster 3 and the Detroit Tigers 0. Bottom of 4th coming in here in Detroit. Let's see. Wow, what a big game that ended up being right there. Now bottom of the 4th here. Tigers now need to see if they can answer. Gary Nolan pitching for the Reds. It'll be Stanley, Northrup, and Freehand for the Bengal Tigers here. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan looks in. Here's the pitch to Stanley. And that is a base hit to left field. So Mickey Stanley's on. So the Tigers with base hit number 2. So now here's Jimmy Northrup. He's 1 for 1. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan working from the stretch. Runner on first. Nobody out. Pitch to him. And Northrup is a fly ball right field. Going to carry. Griffey's back. Makes the catch. And Stanley will get back to first. Here's the catcher, Bill Freehand. He's been solidly getting base hits. He has 4 doubles on the young season. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan working from the stretch. Stanley to get a lead. Perez playing in back of him. Here's the pitch to Freehand. And that's a base hit to left field. Stanley is a 1-15 going to third. He's going to try for third. He's thrown out. Foster with the gun. Foster picked it up and threw it to Rose, who put the tag down. Rose put his knees right in front of the bag, and there was nowhere for Stanley to go. 2 outs here in the 4th. Freehand stayed at first. Here's Norm Cash. Holy cow, what a throw by Foster. So now here's Cash, 0 for 1 in the ball game. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan from the stretch. Here's the pitch. And he ground ball the second. Morgan got it, flips it the first. And that's all for the Tigers. No runs, 2 hits with a clutch throw by Foster. We played 4, Reds 3, Tigers nothing. Wow. Holy cow, we go to the 5th inning. Top of the 5th inning. So what a turn of events there. Foster with an absolute BB throws him out. So now we go to the 5th. Let's make sure we're both on the right version here. We are. Both are playing as the human. Here is Mr. Rose, Griffey, and Morgan, the bat for the Big Red Machine here in the 5th. Reds 3-4-0, Tigers 0-3-1. Down the sign. McLain looks in, and here's the windup and pitch to Pete Rose, and that's a walk to Rose. So Denny Mclain now, his first shot of looking a little bit unsteady out there, and here is Mr. Ken Griffey. Griffey 1 for 2, single back in the first. Rose on at first, not much speed, has good baseball instincts, again run the base as well. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain working from the stretch. Run first, nobody out. Pitch to Griffey. And that ball is deep to right field. That could be trouble. Back goes Stanley. Back. Off the top of the wall. Rose, a 1-15, will try to score. Here he comes. Not in time. And the Reds now lead it 4-0. Holy cow. A double for Griffey. And the Reds lead it by 4. Good Molly, Miss Molly. This red team can hit. So Rose barely gets around third, gets in underneath freehand throw. Griffey stays at second, and the Reds lead it 4-0. And here's Morgan. So Morgan, the ball game is 0 for 2. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain working from the stretch. The Tiger bullpen is getting up, and they're not that good. Here's the pitch to Morgan. And that's going to be a strikeout for Denny Mclain. So with 1 out, here's John Bench. Walked and singled and scored. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain working from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Bench. And that is a strikeout. Denny Mclain, strikeout number 5. And now here's the first baseman, Tony Perez. Runner on second, 2 outs. Reds lead 4-0. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain from the stretch. Runner on second, 2 outs. Pitch to Tony, and that is a fly ball left field. Northrup is there, makes the catch, and the Reds get 1 more. Let's head to the bottom of the 5th. Reds lead this 4-0. Reds 4 runs on 5 hits. The Tigers no runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. So now the lead here for the Big Red Machine. So now let's see if the Tigers can bounce back. K-Line, Horton, Euler will bat for the Tigers. Let's look at their bullpen and see if they have anybody that's tired here. They don't. So they can go Bobby back to Pat Dobson here. And he pitched 2 innings the last game. So Dobson is up and throwing. Here is K-Line. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan with the windup. Here's the pitch to K-Line. And that's a strikeout for K-Line as Gary Nolan gets his second. And now here's the big man, Willie Horton. Horton popped up his first time up. Tigers need to get back in this game one way or the other. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan with a big windup pitch to Horton. And that's going to be a strikeout for Horton as Nolan gets his 3rd. Now, remember, if the Reds win this game, they will have won the series here in Detroit, winning the first 2. They'll be playing with house money with the 3rd game of the series. So, and it'll be Mickey Lolich, probably Jack Billingham. I don't think it's Freddie Norman. I believe it's probably Billingham pitching game 2. Here's Ray Euler. He's 0 for 1. This Tiger last of their offense, not good. I mean, they get to a point this bottom of the order. They are in serious trouble. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan with the big windup. Here's a pitch to Euler. And that's going to be a ground ball to first. Perez handles it. Let's see if he gets to the bag in time. He does. He feeds Nolan to end the inning. We have an official game here in Detroit. It's Cincinnati 4 and the Tigers nothing. Top of the 6th here at Tiger Stadium. So we're taking just a 1-minute break here, folks. Top of the 6th. Reds lead again. Reds win this game. They have won this little mini 3-game series. Game 3 again, it will just be for house money. And here's the man who carries the big bat, George Foster. 3-run bang back in the 4th inning. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain looks in. Here's the windup and the pitch. And Foster, fly ball center field. Again, Tiger Stadium about 420 to center. Stanley makes the catch, and there's one away here in the 6th. So here is Cesar Geronimo. Will now bat. He's 0 for 2 with a couple flyouts. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain nods. Here's a big windup from Denny Mclain. And that's a fly ball center field. Stanley won't have to move. Comes in maybe a step, makes the catch. And there's 2 outs here in the 6th. And here's the Venezuela shortstop, Dave Concepcion. 0 for 2 in the ball game, a ground out and a fly out. Freehand puts down the sign. Wiggles. McLain looks. Here comes the big windup from Denny Mclain. And that will be a ground ball to short. Euler comes up, throws a strike to Cash. And Reds are done in the 6th. Let's head to the bottom of the 6th. 4-0 Reds. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. So the fans here at Michigan Trumbull want these Tigers to finally 440. Okay. And that's in play. Thank you, Mr. Ben. I appreciate that. I knew it was some craziness out there in center field. So bottom of the 6th, I'm assuming then you're rooting for those Tigers. 4-0 Cincinnati here in the 6th. Here is Wirt, McAuliffe, and Stanley. So Wirt 0 for 1. He's hitting 091. So through 11 bats, only has 1 hit. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan looks in. Here's the windup to do Wirt. And that's a ground ball to short again. Concepcion's got it. Throws a strike to Perez. And we got 1 out in the 6th. The Tigers not finding any offense right now. Here's Dick McAuliffe. He's 0 for 2. Gary Nolan has had some very strong stuff today. McAuliffe in the ball game has flied out. I said ground out 0 for 2. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan looks in. Here's the windup to McAuliffe. And that's a ground ball to first. Again, that's Perez to his left. Does he have room? He gets it. He throws. Yes, he feeds Gary Nolan. Nice play by Perez to Nolan. 2 outs in the 6th. And here's Mickey Stanley. Has one of the Tiger 3 hits. Had it back in the 4th inning. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan nods. Here is the big windup from Gary Nolan to Mickey Stanley. That's a ground ball to third. Rose got it, throws it across the diamond. And heck, folks, we played 6 here in Detroit. Reds 4, Tigers nothing. Top of the 7th, we go play more. Oh, that's right. So, yeah, sorry, man. I know you're a little bit younger. Don't I'm sure you read all about the 60. I just don't have a good version of the 84 Tigers. That set just came out. I did not update it on the computer yet. So when this started, to me, the 68 Tigers were the natural choice to be in this league. They beat what? The Yankees 2 out of 3. They lost the first one to the Reds, and now they're on the verge of losing 2 in a row. And again, this league has a lot of parity to it. Top of the 7th, Reds lead by 4. So here is Dreesen, Rose, Griffey again. McLain having some issues after a great first start. Freehand putting down the sign. McLain, the big windup to the big left-handed hitter. And that is a strikeout for Denny Mclain. He's got 6. So now here's Pete Rose. He's 0 for 2. Reached on a walk back in the 5th and scored. Reached on an error back in the 3rd. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain looks in. The wind up and pitch to Pete Rose. And Pete Rose hits a drive to right center field. This is going to be trouble. That's going to bounce off the top of the wall. Stanley plays it. Rose gets it back in. He's head to second with a stand-up double. So a double for Peter Edward Rose. Runner on second with 1 out. Here's Ken Griffey. He doubled his last time up. That knocked in a run. Dobson is ready for the Tigers. Freehand puts down the sign. McLain now working from the stretch. Rose with good foot speed at second. Here's the pitch to Griffey. And that's a ground ball. First, Cash has got it. He'll take it to himself as Rose will go to third. Runner on third now with 2 outs. Now what do you do with Mr. Joe Morgan? Morgan with bench on deck. Do you find a lefty for Joe? Or do you walk him and pitch the bench, which is never a good sign? Let's see. You're in the 7th. Let's see who the Tigers have in this bullpen. Again, not a lot of lefties. And a lot of lefties you want to see out there. And again, they got John Hiller, but I'm not going to waste that valuable arm. So he's not good, but I'm going to bring in John Warden just because a left-hander will make Rose not as good as he was. But again, Warden gives up all that power. Jeez, that's way too much power. So Warden will come in. He'll be a one-inning pitcher here. If he doesn't get the guy out, bench will come in and he'll probably face Dobson. So Freehand puts down the sign. Warden in. His only job is to pitch to Joe Morgan. Here's the pitch. And that Morgan, fly ball, left center field, Stanley, gone. Joe Morgan hits the home run off Warden's card. He's got 3 of them. And Morgan around third gets the big high five, scores, and the Reds lead it 6-0. And you know, this big red machine, they were due, and Morgan has his first of the year. And now here's Johnny Bench. We're going to take him out now. Heck, he probably pitches a little bit better to righties. Freehand puts down the sign. Warden from the windup now. Here's the pitch. And Morgan gives a drive to left center field. Stanley on a run again off the top of the wall. Plays the hop. Bench in the second. He stands there with 2 outs. Another double. Holy cow, the Reds are now starting to click. Here's Tony Perez. Runner on second. 2 outs. Freehand puts down the sign. Warden from the stretch. He's trying not to let the Reds escape prison too much. 6-0 ball game. And that's a ground ball to third. Gets him out of this. Ward throws it off, throws him out. And the Reds are done in the 7th. Let's get up and stretch. And for you Tigers, let's get up and barf. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th. 6-0 Cincinnati. 6-8-0 for Cincinnati. 0-3-1 for the Tigers. Bottom of the 7th coming up here in Detroit. All right. You are you're a Giant? Yeah, you're a Giant fan, V-Dub. So playing that 2012 Giant team, and if you haven't watched that one yet, brother, you need to watch my Giant Dodger game. Only about 7 or 8 people have watched it. Some have watched it in its entirety. I can tell you it's an hour and a half long, but it will at ways put RJL's playoff games to shame. It was an amazing game if you haven't watched it. So just letting you know if you haven't watched that one yet. Giants, Dodgers, amazing. One of the most amazing games I think I've played, especially this season so far. It's probably the best I have. Last of 7, 6-0 Cincinnati. Northrop Freehand cash to bat for the Tigers. Tigers are never out of this. They got offense. They got home run hitters. No, I changed these stats around, so can't tell what they actually had during the season. Bench put down the sign. Nolan with the windup. Here's the pitch to Northrop, and Northrop walks. The Tigers get the leadoff man here in the 7th. Let's see if the Tigers start to wake up a little bit. If you send someone in with a chair and a whip, eventually the Tigers are going to fight back. Let's see if they have some fight in them. Here is Bill Freehand, 1 for 2. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan working from the stretch. Here's a pitch to Freehand. And that ball is a base hit for Freehand. Northrop the third, and Gary Nolan's probably on his last legs. So the Reds are going to have to look for their bullpen at some point because Nolan's probably, and that's 2 hits in this ball game. First 2 hits and probably his fatigue inning. First and third, 2 outs, 6-0 Reds. And now here is Mr. Norm Cash. We know what he has in power. He hasn't hit one yet this year either. 19 at bats, only hitting .211. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan working from the stretch. First and third, nobody out. Pitch to Mr. Norm Cash. Walk them, and the bases are loaded, and that could be all for Gary Nolan. Now, I work something like RJL. If you find a hit and it's off his fatigue result, that will automatically end the day for your pitcher. So Nolan can pitch, but if he gives up a hit and he's tired, he comes out automatically. So will we leave Nolan here to pitch to Mr. Tiger, Al Kaline, or do you take him out? Where's Brian B when you want him? So here it is, bases loaded. Believe me, been wanting to get Brian in here, not. And he's probably not a Strat fan. Not a lot of people are. Let's look at see who they have in here. Kirby is an even as a righty, but you probably don't want him in there as much. Raleigh Eastwick's their closer, and he's a reverse righty, so he's not going to be as effective. Clay Carroll pitched the last game. He's fatigued, they say. Bourbon, good pitcher again, but he's just kind of a little reverse righty. And so they're not going to have a pure righty in there to get somebody out. So K-Line will come up. They will leave Nolan in there for now. Nolan is a 2L like Bourbon, so it would be basically the same thing. Bourbon is up in the red bullpen. No outs here in the 7th. 6-0 Tigers. 6-0 favor of the Reds. Tigers finally now have a chance. So let's see what we can do. Can the Reds hold on here? As looks like the Reds have taken the whip and the chair to the Tigers maybe once too often. So here's K-Line. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan working from a tired stretch. Looks in. Here's the pitch. And that is a fly ball center field. That's deep enough. Geronimo's got it. Northrup will score from third, and it's 6-1 Reds. So they'll take an out for a run. First and second, one out. And here's the guy who really needs to get a big hit here, Mr. Willie Horton. First and second, one out. Big opportunity for Willie. This is where you don't want a lefty in. Bench puts down the sign. Nolan now working from the stretch in this game. Here's the pitch to Horton, and that's going to be a base hit. Oh, my goodness. Base hit. Horton. Freehand does score. It's a 6-2 ball game. Catch to third, and the Reds now lead it 6-2. And that automatically will bring a possible save situation in the 7th. But again, this is where the Tigers have issues. So now the Tigers will see if are they going to let Sparky make the decision first. He will call timeout, and he'll pull him right now. So let's see who they'll go with. Probably Pedro Bourbon in this situation. So here comes Pedro. He'll need a new pitcher for the Reds. No record, his first appearance. Not a bad card. He gets a bunch of hits, though, against righties. So do you leave Ray Euler in there, or do you maybe bring another righty with a little more pop in him, and that could be Dick Trzaskowski. You know what? A little more on base. Let's bring in Dick Trzaskowski, or do you bring in the guy who is called the Ringer, Gates Brown? You also have Eddie Matthews. To me, Gates Brown's a ringer because he didn't have a lot of at-bats, but he put together such a sensational year. The card is unbelievable. So Trzaskowski will come in because he'll be an even swap. So here is Trzaskowski. After the 7th inning, I try to make changes if I can. Trzaskowski, not much better than Euler, just a little more. So he will bat. He's 0 for 1 so far in the season. Bourbon on the mound for the Reds. 6-2 Reds here in the 7th. The Tigers trying to make a comeback. Bench puts down the sign from the stretch. Here's a pitch for Trzaskowski. Trzaskowski, deep drive. Oh, he hit it the opposite way. Griffey makes the catch. Oh, he throws it back in, and Cash scores. Wow, home run, won the 4, rolled the 19. Seemed better than that, right? But I tried to call it like I say it. Trzaskowski went the other way. You know how Tiger Stadium is in right field, the overhang that hangs out. But no, the catch was made. Griffey before the wall, and Trzaskowski almost got it close. So now it's 6-3 Reds. Horton at first, and here is Don Wirt, a little better hitter. And he will bat, fought with Bourbon was still on the hump. 6-3 tied, 6-3 Red. Ball game here in the 7th. Bench puts down the sign. Bourbon from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Wirt. And he hit him, and there's an injury. Oh, he's going to be out for the next 2 series. That is a one defensive guy as Wirt goes down in a thud. So Wirt will go down. So now what do you do? The obvious choice to me, unfortunately, because, again, he's a bit of a ringer too. He didn't have many at-bats, but the guy who ended his career in Detroit, his name is Eddie Matthews, the Hall of Famer. So Eddie Matthews will pick his glove up, talk about something from the natural, and we'll have to see if the Tigers have another third baseman around. They play Trzaskowski probably at third if they wanted to. So here comes Eddie Matthews. He wants to see righty, so he'll get the starts against those. So here comes Matthews. He'll run for Wirt. Now there's 2 on. The tying runners at the plate. Wirt being taken off. X-rays will be made. It looks like he may not be back till week 2, block 5. So now here's Dick McCullough. He has 2 home runs on the year. Bourbon is here, 7th inning. This is where Bourbon should be a little stronger against the left-handed pitching. Bench puts down the sign. Bourbon working from the stretch. First and second, 2 outs. Pitch to McCullough. And popped it up in his column. Oh, my. Morgan with the catch. And the inning is over. We played 7. I think the Tigers have been woken. Through 7, 6 Reds. So Eddie Matthews, the veteran, kind of like the natural, will come in and play third base. Dick Trzaskowski stays in and plays short. And now the Tigers will need a new pitcher because you got to get this piece of poop out of there. So let's see who bats for the Reds here. Right, left, right. You know what? Bring your best gun out there. Say, let him do it. Here's John Hiller. So John Hiller will come in the game. So far for Hiller this year, he's 1-0, 3.38 ERA, 3 hit, 3 innings, giving up 1 hit, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Hiller will pitch the 8th. Reds 6-8-0. The Tigers 3-5-1. Top of the 8th. Big ballpark here. Yes, piece of poop. I would absolutely say that. And that card was awful, and I thought I'd get away with it, but didn't. So here's the 8th. Here's Foster, 1 for 3. Big, long home run back in the 4th. Freehand puts down the sign. John Hiller to left. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be a liner base hit past Trzaskowski. So Foster's got his 2nd hit. Reds now get their 9th hit of the ball game, I think. And here's now Cesar Geronimo. Now he definitely powers down left against lefties. So now the Reds they have a center fielder, but do you want to take the defense from Geronimo out? So let's see. And you know what? They're going to bring in Merv Retman here. So Merv Retman will grab a bat for Geronimo. Retman hasn't been seen yet so far. He's first at bat of the season. So we'll see what he does. Freehand puts down the sign. Hiller from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Retman. And that's going to be a walk. The Reds have 2 on and no out. So the Reds' relentless offense continues. So now here's the shortstop, Dave Concepcion. Now the Tigers are playing the corners in like they're going to bunt. Let's see if Concepcion has a bunt rating to be proud of. He's a B. He can go to a C. So I guess they'll play the corners in. Concepcion will bat, 2 on, nobody out. Freehand puts down the sign. Hiller in struggling right off the bat here. Here's the pitch to Concepcion. And that is a drive in the gap left center field. Stanley on the move. So is K-Line. K-Line comes in and makes the catch. Nice play by K-Line. Oh, he cut off what could have been a big extra base hit. Actually, it would have been a catch by Stanley, but I said K-Line did. So 1 away here in the 8th is Dreesen. And now, again, this is where you go, do you pinch hit for your what we call a designated hitter? You know, both teams didn't use the DH, but this is my league, and the American League teams will DH. So who do you swing with if you're them? You don't have anybody who really swings well against the lefty, so Dreesen may have to swing away here. First and second, 1 out in the 8th, still a 3-run lead for the Reds. Freehand puts down the sign. Hiller working from the stretch. 2 on, 1 out, Dreesen the bat. That's a strikeout looking John Hiller. 2 outs in the 8th, and here is now Pete Rose. He is 1 for 3 in the ball game. He had a double back in the 7th. John Hiller trying to get out of this mess for the Tigers. Freehand puts down the sign. Hiller from the stretch. First and second, 2 out. Pitch to Rose, and that's a fly ball left field. Northrup is there, makes the catch, and they will lift Reds do no runs. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Reds 6, Tigers 3. So now Merv Retman will now be a new center fielder. Bottom of the 8th of a 6-3 ball game. Stanley Northrop Freehand will bat against Bourbon or someone else. So now the right, left, right. Let's see who they would definitely go with. Give me 1 second. We'll take a look at this. Now you don't want to do anything with Kirby. McEnany is the lefty. Ooh, definitely some choices you'd have to make here. So into the bottom 8th inning, 6-3 Reds. Stanley will bat against Bourbon, trying to give him some innings. Bench puts on the sign. Bourbon with the windup and the pitch. And that's a ground ball to short. He missed everything. He almost missed it. Concepcion throws him out 1 away. He but found a dead roll. 1 out in the 8th. Here's Northrop. 1 for 2. Runs scored. Has single back in the 1st. So Bourbon hanging in there. Bench puts down the sign. Bourbon with a big windup and delivery to Northrop. And that's, he hit him. And Northrop will go down with an injury. So Northrop will go down. So again, you've seen this happen to teams. So Northrop will go down. And boy, that's going to hurt. They've had other people play left field, like Willie Horton may have to come in and now be your everyday left fielder for the next series. He'll miss 3, so he'll miss the next game and the first 2 of the next series. So the Tigers will continually have some issues. Let's see who is an available runner who can run. Let's try maybe Willie Comer. He's a 6R because it gets down the way Gates Brown will bat. So here we go. So Comer will bat. He's in left. I don't even know if the Tigers have. He can play left field as a 4. So Comer can play left. So I have to make some adjustments on this team a little bit and see what changes can be made. So, wow, that could force Mickey Stanley to play short and put somebody else maybe out in the outfield. I don't know. We'll see. So bottom 8th inning, 6-3. Tigers put a runner on, and here's Freehand. Bench puts down the sign. Bourbon from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Freehand. And Freehand, fly ball. That's Retman. He's in center field now. Makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. 2 outs in the 8th. Here's Norm Cash. Left-handed hitter, 0 for 2. Runs scored. Walked back in the 7th inning when the Tigers scored 3. Bench puts down the sign. Bourbon working from the stretch. Runner on 1st and 2 out. Pitch to Cash. And Cash struck him out. Big inning from Pedro Bourbon. Let's head to the 9th inning, folks. Red 6, Tigers 3. Now you have to make some choices, and the choices are not going to be good. So let's see what you can do. You want to take Horton now. You don't want to take Horton out of the DH. Oh, so you know what? Comer is going to stay in the game and play left. And John Hiller will pitch the 9th. So now they have 3 and left. That's better. Comer's a 3. Stanley's a 1 and Kaline's a 1. So they still got a good outfield. Here we go. Top of the 9th, 6-3 Cincinnati. Griffey followed by Morgan and Bench. Freehand puts down the sign. Hiller looking in from the windup, and here's the pitch. And that's a strikeout for Griffey. He's 2 for 5. Here's Joe Morgan. Boy, did he hit a big home run back in the 7th inning off Warden that gave the Reds that 6-0 lead. And now that's the one, a big hit that's holding this game up. Morgan, a left-handed hitter. Big 2-run bomb in the 7th. Freehand puts down the sign. Hiller again with a big windup. Here's the pitch. And that's a fly ball on the left. Not going to carry. Comer is there. And there's 2 outs. So now here is Jonathan for 3. Double back in the 7th. Had a single back in the 4th. We go to the 9th. Tigers will be down 3. You'll probably see Eastwick. Freehand puts down the sign. Hiller looks in. Here's the big windup to John Bench. And Bench, ground ball to 3rd. Matthews has got it. Throws him out. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Cincinnati 6 and the Detroit Tigers 3. Wow. We go to the bottom 9th inning. All of a sudden, a game that was out of touch is now back in there. Joaquin Pena Guzman here. Welcome aboard. Thank you. And if you're a subscriber to the channel, wow, I got 8 people watching. Holy smokies. Thank you, folks, for coming in and watching this one on Friday Night Baseball. Joaquin Pena Guzman. Sound like something like you're a fighter or something. So we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Tigers running out of players as they've had 2 huge injuries, but I can tell you, Gates Brown has a bat. So that son of a gun is going to grab a bat, and he'll do it against Mr. Raleigh Eastwick. He is their Reds closer. He is, even though he is not Gary against right-handed batters. You need your closer in here, and that would be Mr. Eastwick. So Raleigh comes in, no record, no save. He's pitched only 1 game, 1 hit, and 1 strikeout. So Reds lead by 3. It's K-Line, Horton, Trzaskowski, all right-handed bats who can take advantage of Raleigh Eastwick's right side. So let's see what happens. K-Line steps up 0 for 2 at the RBI. Bench puts down the sign. Eastwick looks in. The big windup and pitch to K-Line. Struck him out, 1 away, 1 out in the 9th. So now here is Horton. And on deck would be Trzaskowski. But now is when the Tigers have to let go and try for everything. We'll see how much of an offense they can do here. Matchik can play short. So, yeah, I can do it realistically. So Gates Brown will grab a bat. He'll be on deck. Bench puts down the sign. Eastwick from the windup. Here's the pitch to Horton. And that's a double to left field. Willie Horton, here's a who that time. Foster plays the wall, Horton in the second, and the Tigers got a 1-out double. So now with Trzaskowski, he'll be called back from Mayo Smith. And here comes Big Gates Brown. Holy smokes. So he comes in, he's your ringer. He'll be the ringer for these Detroit Tigers. What a card for Gates Brown. 0 for 1 on the season. He doesn't get enough at-bats. Put him in as a full starter, so I'm leaving him as a pinch hitter and also a superhuman son of a gun off the bench to get a big hit, and he's going to have to be it right now. We'll see if he can do it. Bench puts down the sign. Eastwick from the stretch. Runner on second, 1 out. Reds lead by 3. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be a double. The left center field off Eastwick's card. Horton will score. Gates Brown in the second, and the Tigers are back in this game at 6-4. Did someone say 9th inning magic? Or has that term been patented by somebody? Big crowd tonight. Dave Gardner here. So it is now a 6-4 ball game. Stratomatic Super League is going crazy in this. You thought that Reds Tigers game that was incredible on the channel. This game is starting to resemble this. Reds lead 6-4. They're up 6-0 at one point. Tigers fighting back, and it brings up the grizzled veteran Eddie Matthews. So Matthews comes in with all those home runs as an Atlanta and Milwaukee Brave, comes in as a tying run, looking like the natural from the movie. Matthews steps in with Wonder Bat. Bench puts down the sign. Eastwick looks in from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Eddie Matthews. Struck him out. There's no natural ending. 2 outs, but here's Dick McCullough. He's 0 for 4. But he has home run power. So now let's see what Eastwick does against the left-hander. This is a matchup problem, folks. Eastwick, great versus lefties. McCullough hits righties quite well. So if you hit Eastwick's card, it's going to be tough. Hit McCullough's card, especially that 2 column, this game could be over, or McCullough could tie this. Bench, McCullough readies. He waits. Bench puts down the sign. Eastwick working from the stretch. Runner on second, 2 out. 6-4 ball game. Eastwick from the stretch. That is a fly ball right field. Griffey waits, makes the catch, and that ball game is over. The 6-0 lead was just too much to come back from. So the Cincinnati Reds win it. They'll go to 3-2. Tigers will drop to 2-3. Gary Nolan, who goes 6 in the third innings, 5 hit, 3 runs, 3 earned, gets the win. The hole goes to Bourbon. He was excellent. Eastwick does a good job, but gives up a run, gets the save. Denny Mclain got punched around a little bit, 6 2/3, 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Warden was probably mistaken that game. A third inning, 2 hits, a run was earned. Gave up the bomb to Morgan. That is the difference. John Hiller gave him 2 strong innings of 1-hit ball. Doubles in the ball game: Rose, Griffey, Bench, Horton, and Brown. Home runs in the ball game: Morgan his first, Foster his first. Big hitters in this ball game for the Cincinnati Reds: 3 2-hit games. Griffey 2 for 5 RBI, Bench 2 for 4, Foster 2 for 4, run scored, 3 RBIs. I got 8 people in this game, folks. Please all hit your like button. It helps the channel grow. It helps more people find the stuff. For the Tigers, Freehand 2 for 4 runs scored. Horton here to who 2 for 4 runs scored RBI. Gates Brown was 1 for 1 in his ringer roll. As the final line score, the Cincinnati Reds 6-9-0, the Detroit Tigers 4-7-1. I want to thank each one everyone for being here tonight. Reds win this ball game by the score of 6-4. They've won this series and now go for house money in the third and final game. Thank you, Ben, for coming in. Dave Gardner coming in. V Dub Productions. Joaquin Pena Guzman came in. And everyone else who came in, folks, thank you so much. We'll come back again. We'll have the third game of the series at some point, but we'll still have some games remaining. Let's go ahead and get out of this one. Tell you what games are pitching matchups are the end of day 2 of block 2. So you kind of know what could be left to go here. Probably play an early one tomorrow. It will still have Steve Carlton against Justin Verlander. That's the Phillies and Astros series. And then you still have the Oakland A's and Chicago White Sox. That's Ken Holtzman and Freddie Garcia. The A's do hold the first place lead right now in our league. And then it'll be game 3, and then we'll go to a new set of games in block 3. Folks, thank you so much again for coming in. I appreciate all of you. Have a good rest of the night. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your evening.